Are you interested to find out what it takes to become a full-time artist? If so, you're in the right place. I'm on a journey to do just that. I've been working part-time as an artist, mostly specialising in sort of anime, comic, tattoo style artwork for the last 2 decades now. And this is going to be a kind of vlog status update, just marking where I've been, where I'm going, what I'm doing. So to recap, for me, this all started back in the early 2000s with a website. So I was one of the first earlier adopters to actually have a website as an artist. I wasn't a particularly good artist, but I had a website nonetheless. And this was back in the day before social media even existed. And just having a website was a big, amazing advantage that first led to me producing my first main commission to create character designs for a Game Boy Advance / PlayStation 1 game. So that was pretty cool. And then I got a contract to do some how to draw books. So I did those over a number of years and they actually sold really well. And again, back in the time, there wasn't really a huge how to draw book market and there wasn't YouTube, there wasn't tutorials. So brilliant. I was in the right place at the right time then. It all came off the back of doing this website. And then conventions. I would do comic conventions, like 30 or 40 of those, selling my artwork and stuff. And after all of that, I realized where I now want to go. Like, I don't want to be a concept artwork working in a studio producing video games and stuff. I never really trained to do that. I only ever wanted to create cool little pictures that I think were cool. You know, I like comics, anime, cartoons, all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to just express my love for that through my artwork in some way, through drawing pictures, basically. I was never really into the idea of trying to build assets for another company's product. And I realized that commissions were good if they were big commissions. If they were small commissions, they couldn't really pay the bills. Despite having these bigger commissions that I mentioned earlier, I had a lot of little ones, small ones. People would pay me between £10 and about £300 to do a drawing, a character artwork, a sort of portrait of someone's family member, that sort of thing. And I realised I couldn't really pay the bills off the back of those. The amount of people who would balk at the idea of paying maybe £100 for a piece of artwork, they couldn't believe it. I said, well, how much, you know, given that it might take me 30 hours or 50 hours, how much do you think I should charge? You know, people would say, oh, well, I didn't really think about it. I don't know, really. And this was the trouble. I think because I wasn't like an amazing artist, and perhaps to some degree I'm not even now, I make up for my sort of lack of talent by investing more time into the artwork I create so that I can bump up the quality level despite not naturally being as kind of gifted as I would hope. But yeah, I certainly realised that commissions could be quite annoying. And if I could just do what I originally set out to do, which was to create cool artwork off the back of the things I was inspired by, which I knew that other people, if they were anything like me, would also feel inspired by, then I could provide people some really good artwork, then that would be the way forward. So I wanted to do conventions, wanted to do shows. Again, I couldn't quite make enough money at the conventions off the back of my artwork to do that. You know, it's kind of frustrating when it's like, oh, there's a bit of potential there. You know, I've gone from making a loss to breaking even to making a small profit to making, you know, like a 4-figure sum profit at a show. But there's not enough shows, certainly not in the UK, or enough good selling shows that warrants just trying to make a living from conventions. And it seems to be these days that the goalposts have changed. You can't just create a good picture, put it out into the world, it make money. You have to have like several streams of income. You have to understand sales and marketing and all this kind of stuff. So I thought for an interim kind of project to sort of help me to sort of get through this becoming an artist goal, I would invent a product. I would invent a game, specifically a card game, a small-ish, simple-ish card game, one that I could invent, design, illustrate, write all the rules for, and produce and sell to customers directly. I've got like a collection of about 100 different board games, modern board games that I can that I've played, that I kind of, like, I know what I like, I know what makes for a good game, although I'm not like a professional game developer. There are people that probably come up with 20 ideas for different games every other week, and that's their thing. I'm not really that way inclined, but I feel like I've got enough experience, knowledge, or whatever to just put that into something like a tangible product which kind of represents the things that I specifically quite like, which I think a lot of people would like. So I kind of know what I want to do. I kind of want to make something specifically for sort of like the 8 to 18 or 28-year-old maybe gamer. Something that's kind of just cool things I used to like as a kid, like ninjas and aliens and warriors and stuff like that. I wanted characters like that, but with a kind of simple fantasy twist. Anyway, went ahead, made a game. I'm 95% through making the game. It's looking great. However, the sales and marketing aspect is completely destroying my brain, like trying to understand exactly what to do to gain traction with this product. It's so different compared to back in the day when I just built a website, put some stuff on there, did some very basic early 2000s search engine optimization to allow, a few, maybe 100, 200 people a day find my website, and things worked out. But these days there's so much competition, even though there are ways to put things on the internet, and it's a lot easier than needing to learn to code to make your own website. You can just get pre-made templates. You can get an AI to just make your website and stick it up on the internet. There's tutorials that teach everyone how to do everything in the world. It's great in one way, but because everything is so accessible to everyone else, there's so much competition, and you think, well, how can I get noticed? I can't just post things on the internet. I can't just create a portfolio of 30 images and say, here's the thing, are you interested? That doesn't work anymore. I can't even post, say, daily on social media platforms and say, oh, here's a sketch I'm working on for, my little game project. Is anyone interested in potentially buying it and following the journey of how I produce it? If so, go to this link. Like, that strategy just doesn't seem to work. So now I'm thinking, how do I sell this? And I've been asking other people, like, what do you think I should do? And some people are saying, oh, well, if you just put money down, if you just pay maybe $10,000 on some sales, then you might be able to reach your goals of selling like 500 copies of this game. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I think if I was lucky and I sold 500 copies of the game, I might make $10,000 in profit. So, after all said and done, the math basically says that I might be lucky if I can, break even after having invested months, if not years, of my time into producing this little game of mine. That's just not good enough. I don't know what to say about it. It's daunting, somewhat soul-destroying, and eye-opening to realise that you can't just build a thing. You can't go away in a little room for a month, build a thing, come out afterwards and say to the world, here's a thing, and then be paid adequately for it. As a middle-aged man living in the United Kingdom, I know that as a minimum, I would need maybe £2,000 per month in order to pay the bills. What would be quite nice, especially if I'm producing a product which I feel warrants more than the UK national minimum wage, because I think it does take some skill to, create a decent product, whatever that is, a commercial product that people would actually pay for. I don't think most people could do it. Most people that might only be assigned to sort of lower skilled jobs, they just wouldn't have a clue. I'm not saying I'm better than people like that, but I do have a certain amount of skills and a skill set that has enabled me to be able to do something that certain people couldn't do. And I feel like I would prefer to be rewarded for that with maybe 3 times the national minimum wage, let's say £6,000 per month. So if I go away for a month, lock myself in a room and create a product, I would like to make £6,000 off the back of that. It seems with even this small game project, let's just say I devote 8 full months of full-time work to trying to complete this thing, get it off the ground, I honestly don't think I could make more than £500 for those 8 months. And that's really worrying. And I'm at a point now where I'm just thinking, this isn't going to work. Now, I've not completely given up. This is just like a thought process that I'm having now. And I know that when you have a big problem, what you do is you break it down into small chunks, bite-sized chunks that you can digest, and you do get there in the end. And it's all problem solving. It's like, okay, well, if that's the problem, how do you fix it? So I'm not really addressing the solution to problems. I'm just basically saying that as I sit here after the end of today and I reminisce on the journey to produce a product, I realise that it is so difficult. And instead of making a really cool little game based on my experience of playing games and trying to produce like a more all-rounded sort of solid, tangible product compared to just a canvas of an artistic picture, say, I think I've got something. I think I've got something good. I think I'm doing something good, but it just seems so much work compared to certainly producing a one-shot image, and certainly compared to the early 2000s. So yeah, this is where I'm at. I'm trying to create this interim game project. That's my main shtick. And I also realised, just as another aside, that in order to promote myself, this isn't just the game project that I'm talking about here, but in order to promote my personal brand, I would need to find a way to talk about myself, not just talk about my artwork, but myself. Because I think if someone creates an AI image, anyone could do that. It takes 2 seconds. You've got an amazing piece of artwork. Any artist now can't just produce amazing artwork. They can't just go away for 2 decades, learn a load of skills, produce an amazing piece of artwork off the back of it, and then sell it. I mean, some can, but year on year, that's going to become harder and harder for people to do, which is, firstly, completely and utterly devastating for people that have devoted that amount of time to trying to get good at the art thing. But I feel as though if anyone is going to still make some money out of the art game, then you're going to need to sort of sell yourself a little bit to sort of show that you're a human being that created a thing and not just an AI algorithm that stole, a load of people's artwork and then created something at the end of it. So one thing I'm thinking about now is trying to do what I'm doing now, basically, to practice talking it to YouTube, to put my videos on the internet, to find out what it takes to build an audience on YouTube and other platforms like that. And again, that's a really daunting task when you've got billions of videos that exist on YouTube, and I don't know, hundreds of thousands of new videos going up online every day. So big, daunting tasks, but that's where I'm at right now. So I guess for anyone else that is trying to create a living from their artwork, it's useful to just kind of know what's involved, and maybe my journey can kind of be of benefit to people that are interested in producing their own artworks and marketing that, and trying to just basically create a sustainable career off the back of their creative endeavors. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity now, but I also feel like now could be one of the hardest times to do that. So we're going to see how it goes. I'm going to keep updating on my journey, and if you'd like to follow along, I'd appreciate that, and I'll see you next time.